Good evening and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting of Monday, December 4th. I will now call this meeting to order with a roll call from Madam Clerk.
Schultz.
Here.
DeBoer. Here. Cruz. Harding.
Here.
Ganfield.
Here.
Sires.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Councilmember Cruz absent.
All
Point of
right.
Order. I think he was trying to zoom in. Do we have that up?
He was trying, but I do not know if we have it.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Didn't they do a test earlier today, Kim? I thought, no?
I haven't heard back from him since this morning.
we'll continue on and he can join us anytime. We'll look out for him. All right. So the first meeting is the Committee of the Whole, and we have a presentation of the Youth Commission update from Mr. Keegan Hertzman. Welcome to the podium. Thanks for coming out. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We look forward to hearing what you have to say.
All right. Since June, Mayor Green and I have met a couple times. We met with some people from Waterloo and talked a little bit about their structure, and we ultimately decided that that's what way we wanted to go. So if you're not familiar with Waterloo's, they have a like youth city council, so they're not directly underneath the city council. They do this so that they don't have to use resources from the city, and it doesn't take up staff time, which I know was a big concern for you guys, just looking at that. But their plan is later to adopt that city council and turn it into a commission or something like that underneath the city. So we recommend that the Cedar Falls starts out as a youth like a separate organization, and Mayor Green has volunteered to take that under his wing and start working on that. I'll be helping him with that. So our hope is that later down the line that the city will later adopt it, and that the city will be open to working with them. Any questions?
Oh, that's great. Are there any questions from council members up here? You have a question, Ron?
I was just going to say that I got a text from Mr. Cruz, and
Okay.
he's logged in, said he can see us and hear us, so if you want to give him a voice check.
All right. Can we get a voice check real quick? Can you hear us, Daryl?
There he is.
We cannot hear you, so make sure you're off mute. We'll keep working on that. Back to council for any questions on the Youth Commission update. Well, we certainly thank you for taking this and starting this and getting the ball rolling.
I think Gil has a...
Oh, sorry, Gil. I didn't see you.
I was just going to jump in on the same comments.
Go ahead.
I think you're going to, regarding appreciation for the work that you've put into this and the collaboration with Mayor Green, and see this to keep on going. And I think the model that I'm a little bit familiar with the model in Waterloo, and I think you guys are heading down the right path. So thanks again for your work.
Thank you.
Any other council members? Yes, Susan, or Councilmember DeBur.
Sure. We haven't received any kind of paperwork or updates from the mayor regarding what this is, and I would highly recommend he send that to the new council coming up so that they can come up to speed as to what this is about. Because I've not received anything.
Well, I haven't received anything since the original presentation by Mr. Hertzman, and I believe that it's not actually going to be necessarily affiliated with the city at this point in time, correct?
That's correct.
This is just something that they're doing on their own out there, and they would hope, and that's what I was going to say, I would hope that as it grows, and future mayors and future councils, you could bring it back, and then it could be involved with the city. But to that effect, I think if Mayor Green would update the new council and new mayor on it, I think it wouldn't hurt. It would be great. So, anything else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Hertzman. Appreciate you being here tonight. With that, we're going to move over to Finance and Business Operations Committee, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Kelly Dunn.
All right.
Thank you. Looks like we have one item on the agenda tonight for Finance and Business Operations Committee, and that is an update, the annual report, excuse me, from our Human Rights Commission and the HRC Chair, Ms. Sonia Bach.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the city council members and all in attendance for having me here to give the year-end report. And it's been an amazing roller coaster ride this year. So I'm going to just start with some basics. We have a lot of new members, so this is part of what we did this year. So the HRC wanted to revisit the history, and we took some time to look at the creation of the HRC in Cedar Falls, and we have added a history tab to our website. So the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission, HRC, was formed underneath the leadership of Mayor John Cruz in June 10th of 1974. Advocating for such an established group was the local League of Women Voters, as well as the United Methodist Urban Ministry and the Catholic Charities. But its support didn't come without contention. According to the article in the Record, 1973, it was only after much deliberation that the initial efforts for the Human Rights Commission failed 4-3 in a lengthy city council meeting on March 12th of 1973. But just a year later, the motion did pass. Through the enactment of the City of Falls Ordinance 1430, the HRC's mission was set for implementing a non-discrimination policy on the basis of race, religion, creed, color, national origin, sex, age, physical and mental disabilities for the Cedar Falls public. Now, that original committee did investigations, and we don't do that. We work with people locally, and then the investigations would go to the ICRC, the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. So the original 11 members, I do just want to take a brief moment to acknowledge them. Harold Burris, James Day, Dallas Ritzel, Karen Sund, Phil Dorfman, Gordon Harrington, Mary Powers, Dean Ryerson, Reverend Ralph Anderson, Mary Kay Eakin, and Mary Haskell. So per the Iowa Code 2016.9, the city of Cedar Falls, as a city of 29 or more residents, is legally obligated to maintain an independent agency or commission that oversees local civil rights issues. From this, we are working hard to continue and develop more independence so we can serve our city better. One of the ways we have done that is by strengthening our relationship with the Iowa Civil Rights Commission and using our ICRC liaison for guidance. And so now I'm just going to highlight some of our current information. So our mission statement, the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission protects human rights and promotes diversity and equity for all through advocacy, education, and outreach. And then the philosophy, I just wanted to touch on a few of these. All this is in your report. But we provide guidance and resources on laws regarding discrimination as provided by the State Code of Iowa and the City of Cedar Falls of Ordinances, studying and attempting to eliminate discrimination in Cedar Falls, which is something we're going to be actively doing, cooperating with the state and federal agencies and law enforcement activities, and developing civil rights education programs, providing a proactive approach in the education of community employers and employees on human rights issues, including support for local organizations, which we are currently doing that as well. So our primary commitment, what we need to ask ourselves: one, are we working to achieve our mission on behalf of the community? And given new information, new wisdom, and new possibilities, what should we strive to accomplish for whom and at what cost in the next year, and then look forward into the next 5 years? So we've started doing this because it has become very apparent that there is so much more to do, and technology is changing things rapidly. So building a more diverse HRC has been greatly beneficial to help with these questions. And I'll get into that more in a little bit as well. So our principal responsibilities, I won't read them all, they're in the report, but I did want to highlight a few. So the first one, to advocate for and provide the position of human rights within the community, to establish policies and provide direction for the city, reflect the values of the commission, and comply with applicable federal laws, state and local laws and regulations. And the last one, to provide spending suggestions to city personnel. And I'm highlighting these for three reasons, or for a few reasons. We are seeing a movement against supporting and expanding diversity and inclusion. This is happening at the state and federal level. In Cedar Falls last spring, we heard from a large number of citizens who do not support that movement. The HRC's role is only to become more important in the next few years. We need to prepare to be able to support our citizens, and from point 1, 2, and 5, you can see that it is our responsibility to guide and suggest and provide direction to the city. This is something we desperately need to reclaim. It should be understood that the HRC is here to help and to help the city and providing information to be proactive and not reactive. We need to listen to the community as a whole and in part. We need to be there for those that are marginalized and discriminated against. With that said, it is important for city governance to be willing and open to hearing our suggestions and, more importantly, guidance in the future. Together, we can build a better city through acceptance and understanding. So, what are we doing? So we have our committees and responsibilities. Again, I won't read all the report, but the executive committee, which is myself as the chair, vice chair Julie Kliegel, chair appointee Kyle Wiebers. Our purpose is basically guide and provide the structure to regular HRC meetings and serve as experienced group to the new leaders. So we're just trying to sail the ship and stay on task. It's been interesting how to incorporate Chelsea as both our DEI specialist and city liaison. There are two very different roles. As city liaison with Bailey Schindel, Chelsea has been very helpful. We are having better communication, hearing more from the city, and not just liaison reporting back to the city. And as we grow, we have growing pains, and we're still going to work out the logistics of everything. And I'll speak about the DEI specialist role a little bit more, and then later in the report. So then we have our advocacy committee, which is myself, T.W. Ingham, Julie Kliegel, and Kyle Wiebers. So we serve as the first responders to the community. So we help fill out complaint forms and refer to the Iowa Civil Rights Commission as needed. So we've done a lot of work this year on the complaint process. Now we have an active phone line, email, and website for people to use. We monitor it daily. We're writing more of our procedures and using our resource at the ICRC more. Our activity is listed on the report, but I will say the main concerns that we're hearing about is race and ageism. So post-COVID, I think that we're going to see a trend more with the ageism, so this is something that will help track and be able to report back. Then we have our Outreach, Communication, and Education Committee, which is Jason Drosty, Dave Kivett, Donna Malin, and Robert Wright. And what their purpose is they conduct intentional listening sessions. So this is a new committee that we formed. We split the outreach into two pieces for a few reasons. One, there was just a lot of work that needed to be done. We're also building on each commissioner's skill set. So these commissioners were naturally meeting and listening to members of the community, and it was evident that we needed to build more relationship, and this group is doing that already. So the other part of the outreach is the events, and the members are Jennifer Anebo, Maddie Seymour, Gina Weekly. Now their purpose is to plan the HRC events in coordination with proclamations and promote HRC and our work. Now this group carries a very busy load. Again, building on our commissioner's strengths. They create and plan these events for the HRC, and they also help with our social media. The list of the things that they do is very long. They include budgets, contacting venues, and locating speakers. They really stepped up when our community was hurting. And they put on a passionate, respectful, and enlightening Pride event at the Hearst Center for the Arts. So we also had a very successful inaugural fall event. We're breaking the stigma that the HRC doesn't do anything. The list of activities is there in your report. I certainly am not going to read all of them. I'm just going to highlight a few. So with the new commissioners, we've really started to bump up our social media. So they've done their own individual little videos to say who they are and why they joined. We have created informative and inclusive proclamations, Juneteenth Freedom Day, LGBTQ+ Pride Month, Disability Month, And we issued a signed resolution to the City Council supporting a housing needs assessment, and we want to do more to help with the housing needs assessment. There's a lot of information there that's really important. We supported the Martin Luther King Jr. banquet in 2023. We held a Women's History Month in March of 2023 and recognized 3 women in the community for their contributions to the Cedar Valley. And then in May, we have our annual meet and greet, where we open it up to the community so they can come in and talk to us. We visit. They can share any information they're concerned about. And then basically, this year was a year of rebuilding and momentum for the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission. One of our leaders that has been on the HRC for many years, Spencer Levert, retired, and he did receive a Distinguished Service Award from Mayor Green in June of 2023, and of course we do miss his presence. There's a great amount of effort put into the Commission's organizational structure through policies and procedures, as well as an intentional focus on outreach, education, and ways to support historically marginalized members of the community. So we added a lot of members over the last year or so. And again, I just want to make sure that I recognize their teamwork and who they are. So Jennifer Anebo, Kyle Wiebers, Donna Malin, Robert White, and Julie Kliegel were added to the HRC in 2022. This year we added Gina Weekly, Maddie Seymour, Jason Drosty, and T.W. Ingham. And so not only did we go from 9 to 11, we have a full commission, which is pretty wonderful. We haven't had that for a long time. So by adding these members, it increased our diversity and backgrounds and specialties. These members and their skill sets continue to build the foundation for the current HRC and the future HRC. The range of skills from technology, spiritual guidance, common knowledge, education, communication, connections, and kindness all work together to show compassion for the dedication for the members of this community. Plus, it's a lot of hard work from volunteers who care. This is teamwork in motion. There will always be challenges, but all we can do is try to overcome. There are many people who want us to fail. And it's my belief that you cannot fail when you're trying. You fail when you do nothing. Fear has been a weapon for many years. Courage historically will prevail, although it can be painful. The HRC gained a new liaison in Chelsea Learing. As I mentioned, Chelsea has been wonderful as our city liaison. We're very excited to support Chelsea in her role as the city's DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Specialist. If anything we learned this year, we learned there is so much work to be done. The DEI specialist role is separate from the HRC. It is an important distinction because each entity has great purpose. As we witness the results of the housing needs assessment, we continue to see how we need to delve into these different issues and find solutions. As Chelsea has more time to do her DEI specialist work for the city, we'll be able to benefit from those reports to help build a better infrastructure for the city. And the HRC gives us our full support. And I want to end with some of the words that Chelsea wrote for this report. Proclamations were also a major part of acknowledging historically marginalized populations and educating the public on human rights issues. During this past fiscal year, the HRC issued 7 proclamations, the most publicly recognized being the LGBTQIA+ Pride Month, which was brought to the City Council in May. The response by the community, LGBTQ members, and allies alike was a stark reminder of the need not for tolerance, but understanding, acceptance, and welcoming of everyone who lives in and visits our community. Individuals publicly sharing their experience and trauma at the City Council meeting created an impetus for the city and the HRC to acknowledge diversity in the Cedar Valley and the necessity of advancing DEI work. The energy created from this proclamation sparked critical human rights conversations and was implemented in the work of the HRC via education, events, and wider outreach. Now in FY24, The HRC plans to take this momentum and continue to build bridges with the public and provide more opportunities for education and conversations on human rights issues facing our community. Thank you, Chelsea, for your beautiful words. And I'll leave you with this. The whole city should be thought of as a family. Neighboring cities are our allies. We have to think about each other. We need each other. In 2024, let's think of others and realize that not everyone has a chance to live their best life, but they should. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bach. Any questions from council? All right. Yes, Councilman Harding.
I would just say, turn my microphone on. It is nice to see, having been on the council 4 years, that finally we're really getting some steam with the HRC, and we have 11 commission members, and it's just a huge change from when I first started, and all the. I mean, there were times of turmoil. There were times that were tough for the city as well as the commission, and there's been challenges. But I am very happy to see where it's at right now, and excited to see what you guys can do as a collective body going forward. So I would encourage you to just keep on keeping on and doing what you're doing. It's really nice to see how far it's come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from council? Yes, Noah, go ahead.
Thank you. You know, the UNI student body is, I think, the most diverse in history this year. Is there an effort, you know, working with the student body here in the community? The university could potentially be undergoing a lot of DEI changes with the recent Board of Regents decision. So what has the commission been talking about in regards to that?
So for a while, we've been talking that we would like to have like student commissioners or, you know, students that would at least come to our meetings and get the students from UNI involved. Even on the high school level, we'd like to do that. And you're absolutely right with the changes with the regents. That's why I think the HRC is going to be even more and more important. So we haven't exactly made the plan, but we definitely is something that we plan on pursuing for sure.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hackbart. Any other comments, questions from council? All right. I thank you all for all that you give to our community. Thank you. Councilman Harding, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Back over to Community Development Committee. And we have a presentation from Grow Cedar Valley, their year-end update, and we have Ms. Carrie Dara. Welcome.
Yes, you do. Carrie Dara, CEO, Grow Cedar Valley, for now. As always, thank you for your time, attention, and support of the mission of Grow Cedar Valley to elevate the economic vitality of our businesses and communities. From the details provided in your packet, which I know you all have, and I think there's another packet that will be passed around. Jim's going to share an update that we shared with the county that we wanted you to have as well. You'll see that we've had a busy and productive year. Much of it has been working with your city staff and our stakeholders to show progress with our second year of our Grow Cedar Valley 5-year strategic plan, which I know you're aware of those goals, but and briefly, workforce and talent, which you'll hear from Stephanie Detweiler on that. Placemaking and image, you'll hear from Nicole Salas on the progress that we've made with that in that regard. Diversifying the Cedar Valley economic base, and Lisa will be sharing with you some updates as well. And as importantly, continuing to strengthen the Grow Cedar Valley organization so we can better serve you and better produce and perform to our stakeholders, which again includes you. This will be my last time at the microphone as CEO of Grow Cedar Valley, which for many of you it's been a long time because my 10 years with Main Street and then 17 years with this organization, Grow Cedar Valley. So you've seen me up here quite a bit for many, many years. But I have to tell you, I cannot be more thankful for the support and guidance from each of you for my many years of serving the Cedar Valley. And I know our leadership is anxious and committed to providing a successor that will continue to elevate the goals that I just shared with you and even further. So thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lisa Skubal, our Vice President of Economic Development.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members. Carrie, it's been an honor for the last 6 years to work under your leadership. She's really set the table for the next iteration of where Grow Cedar Valley will be going, so can't be more excited about seeing what that looks like and moreover being part of that. So I'm pleased to provide you an update on the recent activities and initiatives of Grow Cedar Valley to support economic growth in Cedar Falls. Over the past several months, we have continued to focus on business attraction through lead generation efforts and making connections with companies and site selection consultants. This includes co-sponsoring the State of Iowa exhibit at Select USA in Washington, D.C. this past summer to meet with potential foreign investors. And we also had the privilege of being invited and attending an invitation-only reception hosted by the Deputy Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands with Shane Graham and a representative from the Iowa Economic Development Authority. By the way, there were only 2 other economic development organizations throughout the United States that were invited to this. So we had it was a small but captive audience, along with a representative from Maryland and Southern California as well. While at Select USA, we had 4 meetings with international companies planning for long-term growth in the United States. The U.S. Department of Commerce, who plans this event every year, is planning additional upgrades to their site selection USA matchmaking portal. It's a lot of words, but we're hoping that will garner and generate more appointments for us at the 2024 conference that'll happen late summer of June of 2024. Domestically, we conducted a Illinois lead generation trip in June, met with 4 companies interested in expansion. 1,300, just to give you a sense of, and I've mentioned it before, of how many companies and contacts we start off to generate the number of appointments and conversations, if you will. We started off with a list of 1,300 companies we identified that have the potential of expansion plans because of their sales growth. On average, this time around, and the numbers keep going up, so the size of the list keeps going up too. But for us to generate 4 appointments for that week that we were there, it took between 8 and 9 outreach or touch points occurring with each company. And I'm sure that probably other salespeople experience the same thing anymore. We're planning 2 additional domestic lead generation trips for the second half of this fiscal year. One in Minnesota, which will happen probably the beginning of the second quarter of 24, and Illinois will finish that out before our fiscal year ends sometime in May or June. And we're working on the list right now for Minnesota. This is in addition to attending the annual Site Selectors Guild Conference in the spring as well, so we can interface with the top 65 site selection consultants who do that type of work throughout the world. So it's a captive audience in that sense. They only invite select economic development organizations, and we're pleased to be invited this last time we applied and were accepted. So we're hoping the same thing will happen this year. We also had new drone footage of the West Viking Industrial Park taken earlier this year with the intent of advertising through an IEDA partnership program on IEDA's LinkedIn profile to promote the certified sites. We had nearly 200,000 video views. The purpose of this campaign was to create awareness of the park amongst C-level executives and decision makers. We plan to do a similar initiative in March of 2024 with the IEDA paid marketing through LinkedIn. We share that cost with the state of Iowa through the Partners Program. In total, over the last 6 months, we tracked 8 new project opportunities representing 457 potential new jobs and over $650 million in capital investment since our last update. When combined with total activity projects that are identified in your packets, that total represents 18 business opportunities. This has resulted since our last report in 1 external prospect visit, which we're still working on, and 2 virtual meetings since our last update, as mentioned. Beyond business attraction efforts, we also strongly support the growth of existing businesses. Through visits and advocacy, Grow Cedar Valley supported 5 Cedar Falls businesses since our last update. Separately, since our last update, Cedar Valley's Jim Schaefer, and he's here with us, and our ambassadors help celebrate expansions, milestones, and new location of 16 Cedar Falls businesses through ribbon cuttings and promotion on social media, on GCV's different social media and digital media platforms. As you can see, it continues to be a very productive and collaborative time at Grow Cedar Valley as we work to drive economic growth in Cedar Falls and the surrounding region. Thank you again for allowing me to provide this update, and I can answer any questions or we can wait till the end.
Are there any questions for Lisa? Yes, Councilmember DeBer.
Got one real quick one. You mentioned that there were 8 new projects. How many of those were in Cedar Falls?
Those were where we, Cedar Falls qualified for the project, meeting and size, yeah. So what I'm reporting with the numbers in the report and what I've just presented are projects that would be attributed to Cedar Falls.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Thank you for the good question.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Detweiler, Director of Workforce and Talent. So what we have been focused on in the workforce space is really, our goal is really to be the expert and resource for all of our HR professionals and business leaders in the community. In ways that we've done that since the last time we came to the council meeting, one of the ways that we've positioned ourselves to be experts is by a data source that we've started subscribing to called Lightcast. Lightcast is probably the leading data source for economic development professionals and workforce professionals. And being able to access that data and look at it has really helped us with a few things. One of them is defining our key industries in the Cedar Valley. So I think we all know what we would think they are, but having the data to support it has really helped kind of guide my work a little bit. So the 4 key industries based on the data are advanced manufacturing, which is no surprise, distribution and transportation, healthcare, and finance and insurance. So knowing that those are our key industries, that's kind of really where I've been working to create programs around those. And also with the data, another thing that we found are the highest in demand occupations in the Cedar Valley. And what highest in demand means is that there's a need for them now. There will be a need for them in 10 years, which also would be a 10% increase in what is needed. So adding that many more positions, or maybe above 10%, and also provides a livable wage. And so me at Grow Cedar Valley, I'm focusing on 2 of those, which are industrial and mechanical engineers and nurse practitioners. So in the next 10 years, those are our highest in demand in this area. So again, that's helped kind of guide some of the things that I'm doing. So one of the things I've been focused on is building good relationships with the colleges that have those programs. So we all know about Iowa State, has a great college of engineering. The University of Iowa, I just visited with them last week to try to build a relationship, increasing awareness of the Cedar Valley as a location for people to go to. And then UNI is actually, I think you all know probably, is having both of those programs this year, or in 2024. So starting to build a relationship with them as well. So the goal would be to get people interested in this community that are in those professions or going to school for those professions. Another thing that I've done or continued to do, and I've talked about it previously, is my workforce advisory committee. So previously I had 6 HR professionals on that committee, and then now it's up to 10. And so those are HR professionals from all around the community, 10 businesses. 4 of those are in Cedar Falls specifically. And that really helps guide my work and gives me input on what I should be focused on and what I shouldn't worry about. So it helps keep me very relevant in the industry right now. And then lastly, just again, in regards to being an expert, also keeping aligned with other boards. So recently I have gotten on to a couple different boards that just help keep me aligned with other work that's being done and reduce redundancy, so I'm not doing things that other groups are doing. So one of them is the Iowa Workforce Board. They have a Northeast Iowa Planning and Operations Committee that I'm now a part of. And the other one is the Cedar Valley Society of Human Resource Management. I'm now sitting on that board as well. So again, just the goal of that is to reduce redundancy. There's a lot of people doing good work, and I don't want to recreate the wheel, essentially. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Salas. I'm the Director of Communications for Grow Cedar Valley. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our marketing effort, of what we've been working on in the last couple of months. Stephanie started in terms of our workforce needs and what we are focusing on. We have subscribed to a new data source. That data source, Lightcast, also gives us, in addition to our primary focuses when it comes to workforce, it also tells us and gives us locations where we can start to recruit people from. So in our digital marketing strategy, we are using for Live the Valley is what is our initiative. Live the Valley really sits at the intersection of workforce attraction and tourism and things to do or placemaking in this community. We know that cost of living, we know that opportunities in terms of workforce and career advancement, as well as things to do, is really what attracts people in terms of them making a decision here. So how we've come together to build this campaign, you might have heard about it, I think I told you the last time, is our influencer campaign. So we have launched our influencer campaign. We have 9 influencers, about 50% of them are from Cedar Falls, and we are highlighting different unique experiences that are happening here in the Cedar Falls area. We are not only highlighting things to do, but also highlighting some of the cost of livings, some of the opportunities to, when it comes to that diverse living opportunities that are here, as well as mixing that information with workforce opportunities that are here in this area. Since we've launched in the last 30 days, we've had about 68.9% of our engagement has been with followers that are not in this area. So what that really tells us is that we are reaching and looking to create a digital marketing strategy to show people what happens in this area so that we can attract them here. So we're using our influencers, using our experiences, and have created this campaign so that we can create more workforce attraction. Our influencer campaign, in addition, to our influencer campaign, we are also continuing with our placemaking effort. So we are continuing to support our river experience that happens here from Cedar Falls, continuing to build on that and create marketing strategies that can connect with our influencer campaign. And lastly, we are continuing our collaboration with Livability Magazine, which is a national platform, which just highlighted Cedar Falls as being one of the best places to live in Iowa on their platform. So we're really excited about that. We're engaging with them to make sure that we're showing what the Cedar Valley has to offer on their platform, since we know that it's a national platform and we want this to be a national campaign. And we are also moving forward with our collaboration with them. So we are doing a 2024 Livability Magazine that will come out in January. We did one last year that performed really well and really highlights the diversity, the vibrancy, and everything that we have going on here in the Cedar Valley. And we're using that as a workforce tool and as a storytelling tool so that workforce professionals, HR professionals, and individuals are able to use that to attract more people to the Cedar Valley. So that's what we're doing, a little update on the marketing and workforce attraction initiatives. Are there any questions?
All right. Any questions from council so far? Thank you. Appreciate the update.
And then I'll wrap up real quick. Good evening, Mike Malero. I'm with VGM. Also serve as the chair of Grow Cedar Valley this year and proud Cedar Falls resident. So checking all the boxes tonight. Couple things and then we'll wrap up here. First of all, Grow Cedar Valley, I think it's important to know we have the broad support of the entire economic community represented in our membership of our organization as well as our board of directors. So this economic community in our region very much supports our activities, which are all driven toward how do we grow the economy in our community, including in Cedar Falls. And a couple key things to talk about in that regard, one being regionalization. economic growth and economic expansion is really all about a regional issue. It's as much as we might want it sometimes to be a local issue, that's not the way the economic and business world looks at things. They look at it regionally. So we're very much approaching everything in economic development as a region, while we also specifically serve Cedar Falls and we serve other individual communities in the region. But we have to take a lens of regionalization, and we very much do that, and that's key in our pitch that we make in most of our development pursuits. The other thing to talk about is collaboration, and as an organization, we're very much a collaborator and a convener of multiple parties, because again, economic development and growth involves, if we're going to do it successfully, it involves collaborating with a lot of different parties to make a lot of things work for an incoming company, a growing company, expanding company, and we're very much on the forefront of convening and collaborating people. So we'll continue to do that. We appreciate the support of the city of Cedar Falls. We appreciate the council and the staff of the city making this a great place to live and creating the infrastructure to make it the kind of place that can continue to grow economically. Thanks for your support.
Thank you. All right. Any final questions from council before we wrap this up? Well, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Carrie Dara. You will be missed, and since I've been on council, I've always enjoyed what you've brought here and everything you've done for Cedar Falls, so thank you very much. With that, we will wrap up all the committee meetings, and we will convene at the top of the hour for the regularly scheduled city council meeting, and we are now adjourned.
There's some more reading that